Hello YouTube, how are we? George here, hope you're all well, and we're back here. Another little update. In the last video I showed you all the cardboard aided design stuff that had been done for the tank, and we have cracked on with that, and here we are. So that's it in steel. Now you can see there I've worked that edge over and got the curve on it. It's just off there now because when it's welded it'll come up like that. So that's the bottom of the tank. I just have everything held in place with magnets there at the moment, just for shits and giggles. So all the mill scale is taken off. I just have it coated with oil there at the moment, just to stop it flash rusting. It's an awkward time of the year for stuff like that. So we have a hole here. That is for this lad here, which is AN6 welding bung and a blanking cap. This is for down the road when we go turbo. Get in there. Things are always awkward with one hand. I can do nothing with this hand anyway. Get in there. No, I can't do it. Anyway, go on. No, finally. So that goes in there. And it has this pipe that'll get welded in. So that goes in like that. It'll be welded in. You can see the pipe going up there. So that goes right up to the top of the tank. It stops somewhere around here. So the idea that'll be when the turbo setup is done and your fuel return, that any of your fuel that needs to come back to the tank will come up through an AN6 line and gets returned back to the tank there. I just done it now because now is the time to do it, when all the welding and everything is going on. And I think for the bung and the cap it was like a $5 from Torx, plus whatever to get it sent over. So there's the bung for the fuel level sender. Now I did get a sender from a Bandit 12 that one of the lads sent me over. Thanks Gary Bond, aka Bondy, off the forum. He sent me over, but it doesn't fit this. And I since discovered that the fuel level sender on the Bandit GSF 650 or 600 or whatever the hell it is completely different than what they used on the 1200s. And not only that, they used several different fuel level senders through the life of the Bandit. And Dave Carraher, my mate there in Maidenhead, has located a battered tank with it's a Bandit Mark 1 tank with a sender in it. So he's going to get the sender and cut out the piece. So we'll have to hopefully it's the same size as this, and we'll make up a boss for that, and we'll get that sorted out. If that doesn't work, I will have to suffer and get the right one for this. I can get a brand new one, €100 though, but if it comes to it I will, because it all depends on what way this is done in the Bandit 12 tank, in the Mark 1. Now to me in the Bandit 12 tank it looks like it's just a flat, a pressed flat into the tank. Now I may be able to make up something. We'll have to see. The thing is, you have to have your bolt holes have to be blind like this, so it's obviously no fuel is going to leak out through them. But I think the way it's done on the Mark 1, it's done with a gasket rather than a seal like this. Now this obviously would be the better setup, but we'll have to wait and see, because Dave is sending that over with the fuel tap. What else did we do? We went off yesterday and we bought this cup brush for the grinder. It's a brass one, and I was picking bristles out of it, out of the front of my clothes for about 10 minutes yesterday before I went in. But we spent about an hour cleaning the tank on the outside and the inside, and I'd say the last time this tank was this clean was probably the day it was pressed. Now it was obviously a bit cleaner on the inside, but that is as clean as I can get it. And we have down into all the corners done and everything, and it's grand. So we're quite pleased with that. So that tank is now in as good a condition as I can get it. We still have a little bit of metal work to do here. There's a few high spots there. This is where the dent was. I don't know if you can see it in camera. There's the outline of it there. So we still have a bit of hammer and dolly work to do with that. Incidentally, that was how I folded the edge over on the top side of this. I got the curve on it. Was with the hammer and dolly. I lightly scored it with the grinder just so as it would retain the shape when I folded it. And if you look at it from the side there, when that's welded, like, it's spot on. So our fuel tap will be going. Have to make a bung for that as well. That'll be here somewhere. It's a twin outlet pingle tap. And I'm hoping for the little lever off it to be about there where my finger is. So you just on, off. And that'll feed these carbs the way they're done. There's one tube feeding 2 carbs. So you have one each side. So the dual outlet tap will be ideal. Now we have to make a baffle for the inside of this tank. It'll probably be somewhere around here, like that. It's just for fuel surge, because the vast majority of the fuel, when it's fairly full, will be in the back of the tank because it's deeper. So I decided that I'm going to do it with holes in it, but I want to make it out of slightly lighter material. This is some 1mm here, and you can see there, drilled some holes and I dimple dyed them. Now I didn't have a dimple die, so I made one on the lathe, and that just goes so you put that one side, then you put this the other side, then you just put the nut on it and tighten it until it bottoms out, and it pushes in, and it gives you that nice profile there. That's 2mm or 2.5 aluminium, so it works really well on the aluminium. That's 1mm, and that's on the Mark 1. The first one I made, it's not as pronounced as this one. And I actually done a bit on this here as well. This is 1.6mm steel sheet, and it's came out quite well on that. So the idea of the dimple dies is that while your material is quite thin with some holes in it, it gives it strength. So the baffle will be, as I said, somewhere around here. And it's just when you have a half tank, it's to stop the fuel surging in the tank, you know, back and forward under braking and acceleration and all that stuff. I'm told I don't need to do it, but by the guy that's welding the tank, he's a Manx racer, a good friend of mine, Damien Horn, and he's going to weld all this up. Should be as soon as the tap arrives, and I get to make the boss for that, and the we get the fuel sender situation sorted out. We'll be going up to Damien. We're going up to spend the weekend with himself and his lovely missus. And look at that now. Another dent there I didn't see. But he's going to weld all this together. He's going to back purge it. So he's going to have a second line coming off his TIG torch, or his TIG gas bottle, sorry, and it'll go into, we'll put it in here and tape it up. And then we will have all the holes taped up and stab a couple of holes in one of them so that the gas doesn't build pressure. And he explained to me, as he's welding it, the gas on the inside will cause it to weld perfectly inside the tank as well, with no impurities and all of that carry on, so it won't leak. But like, he's done this loads of times with his race bikes and no issues, so it should be grand. But yeah, quite a bit of work in that now. And took all the mill scale off the sheet as well, as you can see. I didn't bother doing this, that'll be alright. I should have done that before I folded it, and I'm not unfolding it. But anyway, so that's the tank almost taken care of now. And yeah, quite pleased with that. It came out quite well. It was nice, satisfying work to make this and bend it over and all of that, you know. It was fun doing it, and very satisfying work, you know. So and like, I never done anything like that before, but I've watched several hundred videos of I enjoy watching metal fabrication videos, like Fitzy's what's his name, the guy up in Canada that does with the cars, I forget his second name. I think it's just called Fitzy's or something. Yorkshire Car Restoration, you know, all those types of things where there's, you know, fabrication going on, where something is rusty and you cut it out and you make it new or add a piece in, or whatever the case may be. And you learn an awful lot from watching those guys. It's really interesting to watch how they go about fixing things. And like, the bottom of this tank was so rusty, as you'll have seen in the previous videos. I think I made the right call just to slice the whole damn thing out and start afresh with new steel. This is 1.6 steel. It's probably a little overkill, but you know, especially with the fuel we'll get now, I will be putting that additive stuff into the fuel to, you know, for the ethanol. It's supposed to be very hard on tanks, this new fuel, so if it's going to eat it, it'll take it a long time to eat through that. But, you know, like, other than the bottom of it, the tank is in very good condition, so it made sense to save it, like. And you know, once I get this all filled and all the bodywork fully done on it and everything, it'll be perfect, you know what I mean? It makes sense to do it. So these tanks are, you know, they go for big money now, and it just goes to show you that if you go out and you buy a rusty one and you're prepared to put a bit of time into it, and you will get a good tank out of it, the finish, because that tank's in really good condition, you know. And yeah, it'd be lovely to get an aluminium one made, but again, that's huge cost. I do know that Jason Dunn, Fiberman, that makes all the fiberglass stuff, he has a fiberglass tank in the pipeline for the slabby, so it'd be interesting to see that when he does it. And that would solve a lot of problems for a lot of guys, you know. And you know, he'd make two versions. He'll make the version that has the hump in the bottom for the hump in the bottom for the airbox, and then he make like a flat bottomed job like what I have here. Now, probably won't have the trough on it. The way it's going to work out with the fuel gauge as well, the way I'm going to be able to have it set up, that when the gauge is reading empty and it's flashing on the clocks, this will be still full of fuel, all this bottom area of the tank. So, you know, you probably have another, what, 20 miles or something like that maybe to find yourself a fuel station. But I'd be one of these guys now, when it gets down to quarter tank, I'd be looking for fuel. But You know, I know it's a big ordeal to be going to have a working fuel gauge, but I'm one of these people that if there's something there, I like the fuel gauge is there, it's on the clocks, it's part of the clocks, so it makes sense to make it work. It's only 2 wires. It's power and earth going through the float, which is a variable potentiometer. So it makes sense to do it. It's not a big deal, you know what I mean? So yeah, quite pleased with all that now. So as usual, let's stick up a bunch of pictures on the end of this. And yeah, so that's the tank pretty much nearly sorted now. I don't know what's next, to be honest. I'm just kind of winging it now. We might go about, we'll strip out the wiring and all this. This is just temporary wiring I put in to see everything working. My excitement got the better of me. So we will pull all that out, do the wiring properly. Have to make the loom for the coil on plug conversion. What else then? We have to get our carbs cleaned. We have to go over and see Dave over in Longford, and he comments on some of the videos there. He has an ultrasonic bat, and we will be putting them in there and giving them a good old clean. We'll take them all asunder, of course, and make sure everything is good. I have a little kit there as well for the needles. A problem with these carburetors is that the needles spin as the carbs are running, and what can happen is the emulsion tube that the needle slides up and down in, from the needle spinning, it ovalizes the emulsion tubes and causes poor running and flat spots and all this sort of carry on. So I have this little kit that I got off one of the lads, Gary, fat bloke on Bandit. He'd be well known on a lot of the forums, particularly OSS, and they got these things made where it's the holder for the needle, but it prevents the needle from spinning at all. So we have those there, and you know, it'll just another one of those things. So if I do have to buy a set of emulsion tubes, I might see. I won't know until I open the carbs and I see what they're like inside. As to whether I get a rebuild kit or not, we'll see. Yeah, so then once the carbs are done, the wiring is done, we can fire this sucker up and see what it sounds like. So yeah, it's getting exciting now. Getting very exciting. So there you go. I'll leave it there for this video. Oh, I was just looking at this the other day. This is the front sprocket cover. That's the sensor for the speedometer there, which works off this little doohickey here. So we have to get a clutch push rod as well. The push rod was missing, but we'll make one of those. Yeah, okay, so there we go. Anyway, we'll leave it there for this video, and we'll catch you in the next one. And I'll stick up a few pictures at the end of this. All the best. Bye bye.